All right, I am streaming to my business page, which is definitely something that I don't do every day. So if you're just catching me live on my business page, this actually might be a first. This might be a first. I'm normally in my group, and I'm going to take just a moment to share this into my group, and then I want to show you a tool, which if you want a copy of this, I put the link above. I created this for myself a while back, and then I created this for my members, and now I'm offering it to anyone who it would benefit. And so I'm going to give you a walkthrough of this repurposing planner, and you can see if this goes with the way that your brain works too. And if so, you can make your own copy. So let's jump in here. Okay, yay. Let me share this to Elevate Academy. And tag them. Everyone. Oh, no. Group. Rookie move. No, can I tag everyone? Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, we'll see how that goes. I am actually going to keep my phone up in case there's any questions, but I just want to walk you through this tool because this is something that honestly has helped me so very much to stay focused, organized, and like I said, somewhere in the caption or the comment, structure gives me the freedom to be more flowy. And I don't know if you have this vibe too or way of operating as well, but for me, I really need like that masculine structure where there's rules if I'm going to not feel like I'm out in space and floating around aimlessly. But I do like to be able to do fun things, such as create a new digital product that I find will be helpful for my members and you all, things like that. But in order to do that and then get all of my regular content done and published, I need structure. So let me show you this tool. This is, if we zoom out, this is a 365-day content repurposing planner. You don't have to post every day. Whatever your plan is will work for this because it's not a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if I zoom out and then zoom back in, I'll show you. There's check boxes, there's drop downs, all kinds of things. There's quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 for you. So by the end of the year, filling out a planner like this, you'll be able to repurpose your own content. So keep that in mind. Kind of cool. So the way that I plan out my content is by topic. And if you are someone, and let me know if you do you have any of the following? Do you have a blog, a podcast, or YouTube channel? Even if you do a lot of Facebook Lives, I know Facebook Lives, ironically, which I'm doing right now, but don't worry, this will be repurposed, are a little bit a thing of the past, but if you have a long form content asset as a part of your brand, this will totally work for you. If not, this can still work for you. I plan out my content by topics. So I'm actually going to just walk you through this tool using my topic of the week. So if you didn't know, I have a podcast. It's called the Maverick Mompreneur podcast. And each week that is the what's that word I'm searching for? The bedrock of my content. So that topic, that podcast episode is where everything else generates from. And I repurpose from that one long form, SEO driven, valuable piece of content. And so for me and for my brain, it works so much better for me than trying to come up with from my brand content pillars 7 different topics and kind of popcorning all around. And from an educational standpoint, which is my background, when you're trying to learn a new concept or when you really want something to stick for your students, hitting them with multiple learning modalities on the same topic, saying things in different ways, repetition is so key to really internalizing that learning. So not only for you and your mental load management, but also from the standpoint of your audience and really serving them well and educating, however you go about delivering your content. This is also helpful for them to plan out your week by topic. And yes, you can sprinkle in other things, and I'll show you that as well. There's room for that within this type of plan also. But thinking about one topic, doing a deep dive, and then using that deep dive to create tons of content. You can even do some of your topics, depending on your brand content pillars. Some of your topics can literally be like months of content, right? So let me take, for example, the topic of this week for me. So let's say this is week 1. This is not mine, is filled out more than week 1, but I'm going to show you. So let's say the topic is SOPs, which it is this week. SOPs, standard operating procedures. I know a very sexy topics we're going over here in online business. So standard operating procedures in online business. That is the topic for this week, and everything's so zoomed in, I can barely see how to change the, hold on, let me zoom out. I want to change my font just a little bit so we can see. Okay. Now, your topic might just be for your Instagram. So maybe you're going to really focus on standard operating procedures, how they're important, how you create them, doing some behind the scenes. There's all different ways to approach this, but that's the main topic. You're going to do a deep dive on that. Now here I put offer or lead magnet, and this we're going to come back to because I'm not going to write it down necessarily right here, but keep that in mind. Next step. So for me, there it is, long form content title. So here you can choose in this spreadsheet, which is your long form content. So for me, that's going to be a podcast episode. So I'm going to click on that. And then I would type in my title for that podcast. So what is going to show up on the blog post that I repurposed to, what's going to show up on Apple Podcasts, all of that. And so for me, title is going to be, it's episode 106. So 106, scaling solution, creating SOPs in your online business. And there's strategy behind that title, and I didn't capitalize it correctly, but that is the title. So then as I move throughout the week, or if I'm ahead and I like to have at least a couple of topics and podcast episodes recorded ahead of time so that I can work through my own content repurposing flow a lot more quickly, and or pass off parts of it, which I do and outsource. So here's just a checkbox. Is it written or is it recorded? So say you had blog post, obviously written or recorded. And with this tool, when you make a copy of it, you can change up these columns to fit your brand and what would work for you. You have the format there, but it's an editable template. That's hard to say. Transcript or description written. So for me, I take that long form content. So once I record the podcast, I take the transcription of that, and that's what I use for my content. So creating a blog post, etc. So that's just a little check mark for you. If you don't want that piece, you can just highlight the column. You can delete that column if there's something not applicable to your brand. SEO key phrase. So again, as you scroll this over, you'll see, let me do this for us real quick. Oh, there we go. As you scroll this over, you'll notice that these two columns, A and B, will stay. So SEO key phrase, standard operating procedures, online business. So if you are doing keyword research for your long form content, this is where you would put what key phrase you are wanting to rank for within your podcast episode, within your YouTube video, within your blog, or all three. And so there's your SEO key phrase piece. This is really helpful if you are outsourcing or you have someone else going through your standard operating procedure, which this is a part of for content repurposing within my business. So that's really helpful. Next, we're going to move over and email subject line. So this is where you can type in your email subject line so that you can go ahead and get all this stuff prepped and ready to go. For me, I like to do something with an emoji that usually stands out more. Red emojis just research shows that red emojis are more likely to be open. So just a little, little tidbit there. If you are wanting a higher open rate, try that out and see if it helps. So writing in your email subject line. So for me, I'm just going to copy, paste there. Email sent. So when the email is sent at whichever day, so again, this isn't a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. This is just a checklist for you. So when you sit down, okay, did I send out my email? There we go. I like to remind myself to resend the weekly email to those who haven't opened the email. And if your email service provider allows for that, that's something that I do recommend. So 4 or 5, maybe even 6 days later, resending to unopened, that's going to help with your open rates on your email and make it more likely that your subscribers are going to actually see your email. So checking that off. Okay. An engagement question or topic. So now we're still on our topic, but we're away from our long form content. So if you have long form content, now we're moving into your social media. And if you don't have long form content going within your brand, this is kind of where you're going to start. So you've got your topic, you're going to create an engagement question on that topic. And so here, a lot of these, if there's a link on this spreadsheet, there are examples of types of engagement posts. I screenshot some of the ones that have worked well for me, formats, and then gave you some prompts so that you can create an engagement question around the topic. So again, you're priming your audience, you're priming your ideal client who's going to be reading or listening to or watching or all 3 of your main long form content. And so this is going to get a discussion going around that topic. And so that's the intent for that post. So there's one piece of content based on your topic. So we've got either your long form content, we've got your email, we've got an engagement question, and you can do the engagement question on multiple formats too. You can do that in your stories with a poll or an ask me a question box. You can do this in your Facebook group. In fact, let me open this up really quickly. You can do polls within your Facebook group. I like to do a lot of block quotes if I'm in my Facebook group or on Facebook to really generate a conversation and have a dialogue and communicate with your audience. So communication, connection are so key when it comes to building a brand, a business, and your community is such an asset for your business, and don't ignore it. Don't ignore that. It's so important. So next step, Instagram carousels. So again, this can change over time. So what I am creating now or what I'm showing you now are what is getting the most bang for your time buck when it comes to creating content on social media. And you don't have to do all of these, but again, if you're repurposing from your long form content and you're thinking about, say, shareable quotes, or you're thinking about audiograms from your podcast, it's not a bunch of different content. So for example, an Instagram carousel, I actually have a Canva template for you of a carousel. So when you click on this, it will take you to a template that you can use. You can change to your brand colors, but that's one of those, it's a shareable piece of content and it's sharing information. So for example, if you click on this, we go here, should prompt, okay, I'm not going to show you that because I'm not signed into my Canva and that's really annoying. But anyway, you can change up your brand colors there. You can change up your fonts to match your brand fonts, but this can be repurposed from the information that you shared in your long form content. So I have not done my carousel this week, so I actually wouldn't be able to check this, but tomorrow, that is my content for the day. I'm going to pull from that transcript from my standard operating procedures, long form content, and create a carousel from my template that I use for carousels, and then I'll mark that off. Instagram Reel. So what I do, there's 2 things that I do. If you have long form content, a lot of times I will just record myself recording a podcast episode and then cut down a little teaser of that podcast episode and direct to the pod. Other times I'll create a reel that is something that's trending, but that is on topic for the topic of the week, standard operating procedures. So all of this is geared toward my target audience All of this is reaching multiple learning modalities, which is so important as a leader, as an educator in the online space. And so Instagram Reels, there's a lot of different formats for them, but repurposing based on your topic and based on that long form content, how can you recreate that? Another thing you can do, and you may have seen this on my social media, not here on Facebook, although, oh no, I have my Instagram set to just publish over to Facebook. So if you watch Reels here, I almost forget to check numbers and stuff there, but I will post the audiogram for my podcast to Reels and just repurpose that way, since I take the time to make that anyhow. So I'll show you that when we get there. So creating an Instagram Reel around your topic. This could just be you with your camera talking and putting captions on it based on the topic of the week. Just a little short snippet. You can repurpose, say, your show notes for your post, especially now with ChatGPT. And we're not going to get into that today, but there are prompts that you can give to AI now, especially if you trained it to sound like you, so that a lot of this content can be generated all at once by either you or someone that you give an effective prompt to. By the way, so let's go back to, see where it has offer or lead magnet. Oh, let's go back to, most likely this would be under like a post or an email. So standard operating procedures. I have a lead magnet that I don't think I linked around here, but if you go to elevatedwithashley.com, like I'm from New York City or something, /16, that has a free download of a standard operating procedure template. And so what I do is I'll either put the title of it, or if I have my virtual assistant and she's setting up things for me, I will put the actual link. So for right now, to save time, I would just put the SOP template link here. So it just reminds you as you're prepping all of your content. So say you sit down and for the week, you go through and you're kind of drafting and setting all of this up and then scheduling so that you're not sitting there posting every single day and doing all of this every single day. You can make sure that you include the links for things that you want to promote towards, whether it's a freebie, whether it's an offer, and just keep that in mind. So I left that piece here so that no matter which section of content you're on, you can just note, are you directing your readers, your listeners, your audience, your followers, are you directing them to an offer or a lead magnet? Hopefully you are, but just to keep you centered on, okay, what am I, when I'm writing my caption, what's my call to actions? I'm giving the value and I'm asking, but what am I asking them to do next? Go to a lead magnet, go to an offer. All right. So I'm going to keep on scrolling. Instagram Reel, Pinterest graphics. Now, I know not everyone uses Pinterest. Pinterest is a huge driver of traffic to both my podcast and my website, and then by default, my offers, social media, all of that. So if you are into Pinterest too, here's some pin templates for you if you're just getting started, some pin templates that you can, again, customize. If you have Canva, they're Canva oriented, and you can create a free Canva account and still access this, something to get you started. That's another way to repurpose and push out your content without recreating the wheel, without doing something totally different. So if you sit down and think, oh, well, what content do I create today? Make 5 different Pinterest graphics to go with your topic of the week and drive them back towards your long form content. Drive them to your YouTube video, drive them to your blog post, drive them to your website, drive them to your social media, drive them to your offers. Create on a platform that's going to drive towards something you've already created. So there's Pinterest. Again, if you're like, I don't do Pinterest, just hide or delete the column when you make your copy of this. Audiogram, if you have a podcast or a YouTube video where you want to make an audiogram, you've seen it before, I'm sure. So let me show you one of mine from recently without having to stop share and screen share. I'm just going to show you. So see that one right there on that side? Oh, my nails need a fill. That's an audiogram, and what it has is, if I was going to turn this on, it's just log out of my accounts. I'm one of those people who literally can never remember their passwords. Anyway, that's an audiogram, and so the Headliner app, and that's a free app, I just linked it there for you, will pull from your podcast or do they do YouTube? I know they do podcasts, but then add in you can kind of splice down to where you want the audio, etc. Not a lesson in audiograms, just another way to repurpose your content. Facebook group post. If you have a Facebook group, repurpose either your email, repurpose one of your templates from Instagram, and post in your Facebook group, post in your Facebook page. YouTube video. So for me, my long form content is a podcast episode, and automatically it pushes out with my show notes to YouTube. So that's not something I have to do, but it is on my workflow because it's automated. So if you reshare, say you do live videos, this is what I used to do all the time when live videos were super popular. I would go and I would put it onto YouTube with some thumbnails. So I actually, this right here are Canva template thumbnails, which again, you can change up to your own brand colors. There's also other templates too, but I wanted to give you something like an easy click, and then you can replace it with yours. If you have templates, just click on that, remove the link, and add your own link. All you have to do to add links to anything in a sheet is just highlight it, and then you're going to click on insert link, or this one's edit link, but it'll say insert link if you don't have one, and then just put the link to whatever you need to grab really quickly so that you have a one-stop shop. And then I just left 3 columns for other. So this is where you're like, wait a minute, I have so many other posts and ideas and inspo. Yes, so do I. So what I do is once I've done my main content repurposing flow and that's all set up and chat GPT'd out and delegated and or whatever I end up doing myself, then there's other posts that I do. So if I see a quote, like today I posted this Alex Hormozy quote, which I just loved, and I knew that my ideal clients would absolutely love it too. It says, you don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt. And so that, there's another extra reel. So there's a reel. Great. If I wanted to add in a note and this is what I do on mine, you can go up to insert and you can insert a note. And here is where you can draft or save your caption. Okay. And you'd be able to pull from that. Again, this drop down box here, I just put a bunch of different types of posts. You can update it. You can change it to however you want, a carousel, etc. So that just gives you a few places to play with. But the cool thing about this is, can you imagine? So each of these sheets is for 1 quarter. So some quarters have 12 weeks, some have like 12 and a half. So I put 13 weeks. Once you've gone through a quarter or 2 quarters or 3 quarters or a full year, you then have this whole spreadsheet of what you can repurpose from your own content. Because remember, you're going to be, hopefully, if you're growing your audience every single day, you're having new subscribers, new followers, new viewers, etc. Not everyone's going to have seen all of your stuff. And so there's a lot of this on these other posts, things that performed well. Make a note of that. So if something is like, whoa, blowing up or went viral, what I would do if I were you is maybe highlight it yellow. Indicate to yourself somehow that was a good piece of content. And that's something that you can repurpose from your own content, whether you're changing up the caption slightly, whether you're changing up the image, the quote, whatever it is, repurpose your own content that is high performing. So I hope this was helpful. For me, this has like drastically, when I started doing thematic posting about 3 years ago, oh my gosh, it totally changed the game for me. Before, I was just literally posting by the seat of my pants every day on brand, but like no strategy really. Well, there was strategy, but no continuity for my audience. And this really, really changed the game. And it allows me to get a lot of content published. As one of my members said the other week, it just seems like you're everywhere. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's all the same topic. And if you worry about people in your audience thinking, oh man, this is like repetitive, she's talking about the same thing over and over. Firstly, most people in your audience are not literally stalking your online life. They're not watching every single thing you do. If you're watching this now, you might have listened to my podcast on standard operating procedures. You might have read the blog post. You might have engaged with a question. You might have seen a reel. You might have seen an Instagram post. You might have seen a story. You might have seen one, maybe two of those, but they're not the same thing. And so even for the people who do watch, they're like your super fans, your raving fans that you couldn't do business without, even if they are watching everything all at once from a pedagogical, like educational standpoint, multiple exposures and repetition is going to be better for them to learn and internalize and apply what it is that you're wanting to get across. So either way, for me, just philosophically, mental load wise, all the things, I highly recommend and will never go back to doing anything other than thematic topic creation per week. And it ensures that I'm also getting out long-term evergreen assets that have me not being a slave to social media. And that is where I meet a lot of female entrepreneurs who just think, how can I ever get off the hamster wheel? And the way off the hamster wheel, so for example, this last week was a great week in business. I did not post like extra stuff, but the reason it was a great week in business is the long-term setup of my business and of my brand. And that's what I really teach. So start with, if you are like, content crazy, start with this content planner, make it your own. You're going to download it, make a copy. You'll have all the templates, or you can replace them with yours, but get organized, have this up every day so that you can be really focused, productive, and intentional in your work time, because time is our most precious resource. And if we're sitting there wasting it, just staring at the screen, trying to come up with something, no, that's not the business. That is a waste of time and a waste of life. So don't do that. I will not allow it. Download this planner and I will hopefully see you soon. Subscribe to the podcast, join the Facebook group. There's so many ways to connect. Whatever floats your boat, I will hopefully be able to serve you soon. Okay, bye.